Hello everybody, welcome to episode number 1 of my tutorial series, Diz Tutorials. And honestly, this may be the only episode because I don't know if I'll ever feel like making more of these. In this video, I'll be showing off my very simple 1.16 mob switch design. Simply put, a mob switch is a machine that allows you to turn off or on mob spawning in your world. Unlike previous versions of Minecraft, mobs in minecarts won't count towards the hostile mob cap anymore. So instead what we can use are zombie villagers. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope it's helpful. So here we have the mob switch, and as you can see, there's really not that much to it. There's a total of 70 villagers, 24, 24, and 22, and it takes up one player's whole hostile mob cap. You also need a few sticky pistons, a bit of redstone, and then you can build this up in your world pretty easily. And just a little explanation on how this farm works. Each player in Minecraft can load in up to 70 hostile mobs, meaning that you need one of these modules for one player if you want to stop mob spawning. And obviously if you're playing in multiplayer, you'll need one of these modules per player. And on this side of the switch, where the villagers currently are, they are loaded in the spawn chunks. And spawn chunks are an area centered around your world spawn where entities will always be loaded in. And in this case, the entities are the zombie villagers. And on the other side, right over here, the villagers won't be loaded because they won't be in the spawn chunks. And if you leave the area while they're on this side, you won't have mob spawning. And if it's on this side, they won't be loaded in, so you'll have mob spawning just like normal in your world. So to find the edge of your spawn chunks in your world, you can either manually find it by placing in a zombie villager like we have here that has previously been traded with, or by placing in a shulker. And if you're finding it without any external tools, I highly recommend you do it in a creative copy of your world, as it will make things much easier. And to know if you're putting the farm in the right spot, the M counter on the bottom of the screen in your F3 menu should read the number of mobs that you put there to test. So for example, right now I have 70 mobs, which is shown by the M, and if I teleport far away, let's show it over here, I'm like about 1,000 blocks away, you can see that the M still reads 70, which means that they're loaded in. So if I teleport back, and turn the farm off, and then teleport to the same spot, you can see that they're not loaded in. And if yours looks like that, obviously your number won't be 70 if you're just testing it. That means that you did it correctly. And remember, if you're doing this manually, just to go a few hundred blocks away from these guys so you don't manually load them in. And the other way to find the spawn chunks is to use an external tool, which currently aren't available in this version at the time of making the video. I can link them in the description in the future if anyone would like them. And one more thing, the villagers in the switch need to have been previously traded with so they don't despawn. Also, do not name them, as if they're named, they won't count towards the mob cap in your world. So now that you understand what makes this whole thing work, we can jump right into the tutorial. Okay, so for building this up, you'll just need a few of the materials that I have down here in my hotbar. So I'm just using glass so it's easier to see, but you don't have to use glass in any of these. So just place the glass blocks here. And remember that you need one side in your world spawn chunks and one side not on your world spawn chunks. And then we need the blocks here that will get pushed into, that will push the villagers across. I'm just placing some blocks behind so I can put in the pistons that will push the villagers. And we need to put walls up here so the villagers don't get out. Now that we have those up, we can put blocks over here. And then lastly, we just need a spot where the redstone can go. lever here, or you can just power this any other way. Redstone dust going over those pistons, redstone dust here, block, solid block, torch, more redstone over these, and as you can see, it pushes those over. And then if you power right here, it'll flip them back and forth, on and off. So for getting the zombie villagers into your farm, it might seem a little annoying, but I have a few helpful tips to make the process a little easier for you. So I won't be showing any villager breeders here, but there's a lot of videos for them on YouTube. So after you make some sort of breeder, make sure the villagers are grown up, and then you can send them over here. And remember to not name them. I'm just doing it so it didn't count towards the mob cap. So all you need to do is get them on a minecart. You can push them right here. It will turn it into a zombie, and then you can just send it down here, and it will stay on the minecart track, and then you can just send it over to your mob switch. One more thing I forgot to mention, if you play in hard difficulty, it is the only difficulty that zombies will convert zombie villagers 100% of the time. So otherwise, you will have your villagers die, and it will be very annoying. One last thing, when you're luring the zombie villagers in, there's definitely more than a few ways to do this, but I'll just show you two that I think are the easiest. So first, you can lure them in using trapdoors because they think they can walk over it. So if you go into, if I just go into survival real quick and put down a zombie villager, they'll try to attack me, but they get stuck right here and fall in. And the other way to get the villagers in is you can just put them in a water stream and they'll just flow right in. And remember, if you're ever working with them in the daytime, especially in the daytime, to put a little ceiling over them so they don't burn in the daylight. Hopefully this video showed you just how easy it is to make a mob switch in the new 1.16 release. And remember that if you have any questions, just to ask down in the comments section. And that's all for this episode of Diz Tutorials. Don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful, and a sub would be greatly appreciated. Thank you and goodbye.